Welcome back. Now we're looking at the secant of 105 degrees. Now we didn't necessarily have a rule for secant, but that's because secant is based on cosine. So we're actually looking at 1 over the cosine of 105 degrees. And we've already figured out that 105 can be broken down into 60 plus 45. And again, I picked the numbers 60 and 45 because they came from the unit circle, so I can have exact values. So that means that we just have 1 over the cosine of the sum of two angles rule, cosine, cosine, sine, sine. So 1 over the cosine of 60 times the cosine of 45 minus, because it's the co with the sine, the sine of 60 times the sine of 45. And because of that subtraction that's happening, we can't just take these and flip the fractions quite so easily. But each of these is going to be a fraction. Don't worry, we're going to take all of this as 1 divided by. That way we don't have to look at fractions within fractions within fractions. The cosine of 60 is 1/2. The cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2. Minus the sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. And the sine of 45 is root 2 over 2. So we get 1 divided by root 2 over 4 minus root 6 over 4, which we can turn into 1 divided by root 2 minus root 6, all that over 4. And now we're just dividing by a weird looking but single fraction. So we've actually got 1 times 4 over root 2 minus root 6. Now, multiplying by 1 is not really going to change anything, so we can ignore or cancel that, or however you want to consider that. But we need to rationalize again. So again, 2 minus root 6 is a little bit like a minus b. So if we multiply by an a plus b, we can square those away. So we'll multiply by root 2 plus root 6. And anything you do to the bottom of a fraction, you have to also do to the top. You could distribute the 4, but I'm going to hold out just in case something cancels. So now we've got 4 times root 2 plus root 6 over, we're going to have root 2 squared minus root 6 squared, which is just going to be 2 minus 6. So that's really 4 times root 2 plus root 6 over 2 minus 6 is negative 4. 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1 times root 2 plus root 6. And we will distribute that. And the precise value of the secant of 105 is negative root 2 minus root 6. We've got a couple more in this set. Cosecant of 105 degrees. Again, cosecant, we don't have a specific example, but this is, we don't have a specific rule, but because cosecant is based on sine, we can say that that's really 1 over the sine of, again, 60 plus 45 degrees. Which again, we can already start by saying is 1 divided by, and the sine of 60 plus 45, the pattern for sine is sine, cosine, cosine, sine. So the sine of 60, cosine, cosine of 45, keep the same sign, times the cosine of 60 times the sine of 45, or 1 divided by, again, go into the unit circle here. The sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. Cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2, plus cosine of 60 is 1/2. And the sine of 45 is the same as the cosine of 45. It's also root 2 over 2. Or again, 1 divided by root 6 plus root 2 over 4. Because again, both 2 times 2 is 4 here and here, so we have common denominators already. And again, we have 1 times 4 over root 6 plus root 2. Again, multiplying by 1 isn't going to change anything. And again, we have a plus b, so we should change the denominator by multiplying by a minus b, so we can square away those roots. So root 6 minus root 2. If you've noticed that every time we go a squared minus b squared with a radical, we just drop the roots and keep the numbers. You can use that as a shortcut of showing your work. So we are going to have 4 times root 6 minus root 2, all that over. Root 6 squared is just 6, minus root 2 squared is just 2, or 4 times root 6 minus root 2 divided by 4, and those 4's will cancel out. So the precise value of the cosecant of 105 is the square root of 6 minus the square root of 2. And then finally, the cotangent of 105. So that equals 1 over the tangent of 60 degrees plus 45 degrees. But the tangent is already a fraction. And when you have 1 over a fraction, it just flips the fraction over. So the cotangent would actually be 1 minus the tangent of 60 degrees times the tangent of 45 degrees over the tangent of 60 plus the tangent of 45. If you want the superfraction step, it's because we would actually get 1 over the tangent of 60 plus the tangent of 45 over 1 minus the tangent of 60 times the tangent of 45. I kind of wanted to skip that step a little bit. Because now, again, it's really the top part divided by the bottom part. So we can turn this into 1 minus the tangent of 60 is root 3, and the tangent of 45 is 1, divided by tangent of 60 is still root 3, and the tangent of 45 is still 1. So root 3 times 1 is still just root 3, so we have 1 minus the square root of 3. Let's go back and make that over root 3 plus 1. Let's make that 1 plus root 3. I wanted to do that because, again, when you're dividing by something with a root, you might want to go and multiply by the conjugate, is what this is called when you multiply by a minus b or by a plus b, depending on what you've already got. Again, a minus b times itself, or squared, can turn into a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So if my a is 1, 1 squared is 1, minus 2 times 1 times root 3 would be minus 2 root 3, plus root 3 squared would just be 3, over 1 minus 1 squared is 1, minus root 3 squared is 3. Again, we can simplify a little bit here. 1 plus 3 is 4, minus 2 root 3. All that over 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So we've really got 4 divided by negative 2 plus 2 root 3 divided by negative 2. That kind of, you only need 1 minus in here. Actually, no, let's make that minus. No. Either way is okay. Really what we're trying to show is 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 root 3 divided by negative 2 becomes a positive root 3. And that is the exact value of the cotangent of 105 degrees.